Hey everyone, Rarity Dasher. Time for another blind commentary. And I've kept you waiting long enough on it. Cinemarason's time again. Everything wrong with the rest of Season 1 of MLP. Episodes 21 through 26. Yeah, 6 episodes this time instead of 5. And as always, I'll start with a few words about the episodes. Now, Over a Barrel. I kind of really don't like how it seems the writers can't do an idea like this, like a sort of playful homage to westerns, without so much of an overreaction about the subject matter. You know, all the political correctness arguments this one seems to spark really kind of starts to overshadow what is really a pretty funny, whimsical, and different Season 1 episode. I kind of hope that, like the arguments about feeling pinky keen, LittleshyFim doesn't get so far into that so much. As for sins, I don't know. There are some kind of weird things, like the team of stallions being able to pull a whole train, and of course the pies. But most of it is just for cartoon silliness. No idea what he'll exactly point out. A Bird in the Hoof. That's a pretty fun episode. A Fluttershy episode I actually rather like, as I think it touches on the more interesting side of her character. Also, it gets some big bonus points from me for having a lot of Celestia in it. As for sins, not entirely sure. I guess there is the blatant reusing of the Benny Hill gag from Ticketmaster. Also, well, yeah, Twilight is kind of unreasonable idiot in the episode, but Lesson Zero kind of shows them falling up on that side of her character, so maybe that's not exactly a flaw. Cutie Chronicles. Well, that was kind of an awesome and much-needed episode, telling us what we needed to know about all the main six's backstories in a simple, compact format. I can't think of much that it does that is sin-worthy. Scootaloo is kind of annoying, I guess, and there is Fluttershy. Really don't think a Butterfly Cloud is ever going to hold up even a young pony. Doesn't make a lot of sense. All's Well That Ends Well. That's a fairly underwhelming episode. That's the first Spike episode, and it's made even more underwhelming by the unfortunate placement it got in the sequencing of Season 1. Kind of put in there between 2 episodes that everyone seems to love. That's not very... But I don't really think it's that bad, though. It has some cool and entertaining bits to it. And, I don't know. As for the sins, well, there are a few things. The rain when Spike runs away, not washing off the ketchup on his feet, is a pretty big one. Also, it's kind of hard to believe a big winged dragon couldn't pursue them further if it wanted to, either by just powering through the trees or by taking flight. And of course, some people would probably just count the repeated Who jokes as a sin. Or at least that seems that way from a lot of reactions I've seen. Party of One. Well, that one's certainly one of the more memorable episodes. Pinky's breakdown is just a really iconic moment in the show. Hard not to love it. Also hard for me to say there's that much wrong with the episode. I guess it could be said that the tone Pinky's friends take while hiding from her is a bit unnecessarily harsh for the sake of throwing her off. Can't think of much else, though. Finally, there's the Season 1 finale, Best Night Ever. Really a fun episode. Don't have a lot of complaints with it. Maybe you could criticize Celestia for being a bit too pleased to see the main six ruin everyone else's evening. I don't know. As always, I'm sure lots of things I never even considered will be pointed out. Anyway, let's get started. Okay. Everything wrong with Over a Barrel in 3 minutes or less. Spoilers.
I'd like to be a tree.
This train's method of acceleration.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it really
None of
doesn't.
the train cars have doors on the outside.
That's
I'm
an
not sure
interesting
which is more
point.
odd. The fact that Applejack is reading a bedtime story to a tree, or the fact that Applejack is able to read. There's plenty of other
Cool.
train cars to sleep in. Rarity doesn't have to sleep with every pony else if she doesn't want to. This time, the theme actually is a sin, because immediately following it is an extended period of darkness beyond the usual length.
Really?
Rainbow Dash only just now notices how fast the train is going. Also, only the Pegasi have ladders to their upper bunks. Kind of ironic. Season 1's shading.
Huffy the magic dragon.
Marijuana joke. Now go argue about this sin's validity in the comments. It's never implied how the buffalo know to attack the train, or even the caboose for that matter. Pretty convenient and unrealistic of them to keep Bloomberg in the far rear and Bunk all the way in the front. The train
That is
isn't riding
interesting.
on the tracks.
You're pretty quick for someone so bulky.
Dash just called Little Strongheart fat. If she's flying just above the train cars,
Yeah,
it
Little
might be
Strongheart
nice.
isn't that
She
bulky
managed
at
to
all.
crash into a sign. Applejack was in the same train car as Spike, yet somehow she managed to get out in time. What's Spike's excuse? Little Strongheart, and she's gone.
Welcome to Appaloosa!
Rule 63 caramel.
Horse-drawn carriages.
Nope, I don't think I can top that bad of a pun.
That's a great pun.
Saltaholic. The culture of the native buffalo tribe really shines here.
Catch you later, bro.
There's no way a buffalo could sleep comfortably in these small teepees. Dash must really suck at hide and seek.
We only wanted the tree. The settler ponies have overtaken the land and have planted an orchard all over it.
And taking the tree solves that problem how? Little Strongheart
Yeah.
is the only female of the herd.
His father before him.
UFP made that point.
His father before him.
One eternity later.
The element of loyalty sure does waver in her allegiance quite easily, doesn't she? Applejack's saddlebags slip between dimensions. Dash asks Applejack to move the trees, to which Applejack provides a reasonable and realistic response, and Dash replies with,
Plant the tree somewhere else.
this piano's note progression. There's nothing more annoying than a character's unrealistic ignorance for the sheer sake of cobbling together a weak story. We gotta make sure these apples are clean before we throw them into random spaces.
Why won't anybody be rational and reasonable?
YouTube comments. How does the chief remain standing while applying war paint? This little patch of trees and cluster of buildings is what the buffalo were so upset about? They can't go around or simply stroll peacefully through this?
Oh, wow.
Mysterious line floating high in the sky. Really, at this point their only reason for attack is Pinky singing. If it wasn't for that, they would have agreed to come to some sort of compromise just as they do at the end of the episode anyway? If you listen closely, you can hear the stereotypical Indian war whoops.
Headshot.
Why all the drama? The chief is simply jumping in front of the sheriff. If he were leaping towards him, they would have collided regardless of the pie's impact.
True.
Can I please have more of that mushy stuff?
I baked you a pie.
Oh boy, what flavor?
Pie. Bird in the Hoof.
I'm late for a very important thing.
Yep.
For the longest time, this door is bare. Then the hinges and handle appears, and then the lock also appears out of nowhere. Fluttershy stole her friend's
Interesting.
dresses.
Yeah, those
This
are.
one's for Jay.
Wow.
Soon.
Who goes there?
This is totally my real voice. Mrs. Cake steals her husband's cutie mark. Throughout the scene at Sugar Cube Corner, the ambient background audio contains the laughter of what sounds like a Nightmare Moon. Is that a dress?
Really?
Or a mudflap. Fluttershy is late, Twilight is her neurotic self, Rarity is as vain as ever, Rainbow Dash is seemingly absent, and Pinkie Pie is hyped up on sugar and giving no regard to common courtesy. The Flying Pony is the only polite one. Kind of ironic that they use Pinkie's
That is
gasp
interesting.
sound effect in reaction to Pinkie herself.
Empty teacup at 4 o'clock.
I'm guessing clocks in Equestria look something like this then. If Celestia isn't levitating this cup, who is? This teapot
She can
pours
levitate
me tilted in
without
the opposite
magic glow. I guess.
Nothing means more to me than the well-being of all my subjects.
direction. Excluding our slaves and inferiors, of course. Thermometers. How do they work?
Yeah?
Fluttershy is a secret stash of cure-all drugs.
Of course she does.
Always works.
She must secretly drug others' food often then. Gravity-defying soup. Theme breaks the fourth wall. What? That's not ointment. It's how Minuet circumvents animal testing laws. The door's hinges are on the wrong side. Twilight visits Fluttershy for no reason whatsoever. Just walk in uninvited, why don't you? Look outside, turn around, and in the next shot, completely disappear.
Bells in the morning, and then you'll be nice and calm.
Who left the door open? This gag only works when a show is trying to imply that the characters being fooled are complete idiots. Otherwise, it just feels unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yakety sacks. I wonder what they hope to accomplish with this lone creature. I mean, what would you think if you saw this? Philomena is streaking in a public fountain.
That's great.
It's possible that Celestia got Philomena as a pet after Twilight left Canterlot, and therefore she wouldn't know about it.
That's another good
I
point.
think
Really
someone
good
as
point.
educated as
Thought about that
Twilight would at least
before.
know what a phoenix is. That
Twilight should know Philomena is. Unless she just got.
You sound.
Celestia's tail ran out of batteries.
Oh, wow. Apparently it did. Didn't know Celestia ran on batteries.
Gotcha.
I don't know for sure how things went with the princess, but at least no big disasters happened.
Yes. Cutie Mark Chronicles.
The filly's order on the zipline changes suddenly. The scene does not contain a sap dance.
Greatest flyer ever to come out of Cloudsdale.
Seriously?
Yeah, they're not that
At the side of
stupid.
the camera. Exactly how much does AJ's aunt and uncle love the color orange? Too much. Those of you with OCD probably already noticed the one out-of-place window with blinds instead of curtains.
No, I didn't notice, but I don't have OCD. So.
Because all true Manhattanites use bendy straws. Interdimensional rift from which the storyboard shows through. That moment, you're at a social gathering with gas.
I'm so hungry, Akadata.
Manhattan overlooks the ocean to the east, so apparently in Equestria the sun rises from the west. How
Or they
in the
didn't have the
world
map
do these animal
figured
bars
out yet.
control these wheels? Fluttershy might appear sweet and loving in this scene, but in actuality she's leading them into a snake hole for lunch.
Ooh,
Fluttershy's wing
that's
is
very possible. We've seen her feed other animals before.
Fluttershy is adorably ugly. These two might want to see a doctor. Their tongues don't look so great. Rainbow Dash must be the size of a house to cast a shadow this massive.
You think you're such a big shot?
Wait, he might actually have a good point. It's noble to defend Fluttershy and all, but what if Dash is the real bully at Flight School, and these two are merely standing up for every pony else? I suppose it's possible that these ponies received a spell that allows them to walk on clouds, but that still doesn't explain why Cloud Kicker is missing her wings.
I've never seen such beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
This is the most girly scene in the entire show. Yet, I can't help but sing along with Fluttershy. My inner man demands that this be counted as a sin. For some pony who's never been on the ground before, Fluttershy sure does know a lot about nature and the animals that dwell in it.
Very
Fluttershy's
true.
first reaction after hearing a massive explosion is to tell all the creatures that everything's okay, without even knowing it to be true for herself. Dumbbell appears to be out of commission early on in the race, yet we see him advance to a much more competitive position later on. He would have to be a lot faster than Rainbow Dash to make up all that time. Did Rarity own the fashion boutique even as a filly? Terrible quality bitmap background. In Equestria, sound travels faster than light. The only acceptable conclusion to the Space Odyssey. Most of these background ponies shouldn't be full-grown mares at this point in time.
Yeah.
I don't usually count every single background pony duplication, but this is ridiculous. Twilight's parents sent her to school, and she soon returned with a baby and a tattoo.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Purple and green egg.
Nope.
Mare's yawn from a stallion's mouth. If Twilight is in Canterlot, why is it seen in the distance? Magical crap is blowing up, but Spike is all out of bucks to give. This table disappears. Nightmare Moon should be imprisoned in the moon at this point in time. Shadows
That's a very
don't
good point,
multiply
too.
when overlaid. Pinkie Pie receives her cutie mark between shots, but then it disappears and reappears soon after.
Tell you the story of how I got my cutie mark. It's a gem.
No, it's balloons. Every pony disappears for some reason. Rainbow Dash is wearing her contestant number from the Young Flyers competition. I understand every pony is excited about the Sonic Rain Boom, but for Celestia's sake, calm down.
When did you get so cheesy?
She found the fanfictions.
Long ago, when I was a little.
I don't think Granny Smith's Cutie Mark story would be that interesting.
I knew that this was my destiny.
Of course.
And that is why you are my #1 assistant.
All's well that ends well.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. This shower only happens once every 100 years.
Twilight, you really should bathe more often than that.
What's taking my number one assistant so long?
Calm down, Twilight. It's only been all of 20 seconds. Theme. Dash takes a single bite, and suddenly it becomes nothing more than an apple core. Twilight only packs enough cups for Spike, herself, and one friend. Somewhere out there is a Rainbow Dash shrine surmounted by a rotting apple core. All this for some fruit and punch?
Photos are cool.
Meanwhile, on planet Earth.
I think one of the anthologies made that joke.
The word once. In
Don't know which was first, but...
Spike is falling asleep on Twilight's back one moment, but suddenly vanishes in the next shot. For a moment, Rarity also sounds like she's in the punch bowl.
And now the punch has been spiked!
Back off, Pinky. Bad jokes are my job. It's not plagiarism if you simply swap out some of the words.
Oh yeah, that was like from a wiki or something.
Censorship gag. Really, I am, but this scene simply demands it. Spike comes dangerously close to being abducted by an oddball beam of light.
I overslept!
No, your clock is just running a bit fast. Better call an exorcist. Yes, writers, we know the owl says
yes.
Soon. Spike is reading about the Bohemian Club.
Spike knows he can't be replaced.
She said, as the owl wore a specially gifted bow tie identical to Spike's.
OMG.
LMAO, BTW, GGG, BFF, YOLO. These 7 books multiply when they hit the ground.
Yes, sir!
Sir? Spike teleports to Sugar Cube Corner and back. This episode of My Little Pony is brought to you by the letter Q. I'm no expert on the matter, but a quail feather probably makes for
yeah, I've always thought that.
This
the quail could have actually worked.
Just must have taught Twilight this.
He's genuinely a good little guy.
If he's such a good little guy, why would you let him sleep on the stairs all night long? The damaged book disappears between shots. Trespassing, robbery, destruction of private property. There never really was any consequence for any of this, was there?
Nope, none whatsoever.
I'm sure he'd be smirking if he were able to. Well, it can't get any worse, cliché. Recycled background from Dragonshy. I'm no expert on mythology, but I'm pretty sure that dragons don't sweat like this. Spike's running right for the exit, but somehow manages to corner himself anyway.
It's too dark!
Twilight forgets that she's a unicorn with an arsenal of light spells.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
His wings as a sign of aggression, but he forgets that he can actually use them.
Yep, that's what I said. He could have just flown.
Because it was so very funny the first time.
Yes.
One might have thought that such a downpour would easily dissolve faint ketchup prints.
Yep, that's another point I made.
The library is floating through the depths of space. Dear Princess Celestia, Stockholm Syndrome sucks.
Opal's toy.
Shoot! Shoot! Shoot.
Party of one.
I hope we find you well. You're invited to a party because we think you're really swell.
Flap your wings, not your hooves, silly. The library is looking a little bare today, isn't it?
Yeah.
This frame.
Wow.
It must
that
be
face
awfully
gummy.
Inconvenient to empty this tub of water after the party ends. Obvious flash error that should have easily been caught. These cups are pink one moment and transparent the next. I guess Pinky's cups aren't good enough for her. Gravity-defying punch. We hear Rarity swallow just before she spits out her drink. Was Twilight sleeping on the floor? Pinkie Pie has an extra invitation. Finals week. What are the odds of these wheels being in perfect sync? This apple. What would Rarity be doing with a human sock? This
That's a good question.
Suddenly. Does Rarity take Pinky for a complete fool? How
Apparently so.
does pencil on fur even work? I see you. Twilight looks everywhere except for Pinky's bedroom window. Pinky is kind of a hard pony to miss.
Is Pinkie Pie around?
She only lives in this very building. In fact, odds are that she's probably the one who put the can directly in front of your face.
Bit
Why
obvious.
the long face, Twily? The transportation of the cake doesn't make any sense. Why not just have Dash pick it up and take it to Sweet Apple Acres in 10 seconds flat rather than all over town?
Yeah, that's
There's
a good
no
point
way
too.
that Pinky wasn't seen here. This is how a true lady whispers. Dash has nothing on her back one moment, then a saddlebag suddenly appears. Raise your hand if you saw this coming. Is Rarity standing on Dash's back?
Probably.
Spike moves, but his shadow doesn't.
Fluttershy, a Pegasus afraid of heights. What's up with that?
No!
This frame speaks for itself. And for my next trick, I will make a giant cake magically appear. This episode is the TVY telling of a psychopathic killer's descent into madness.
Pretty
I
much.
should really consider getting into voice acting. Shaky Hoof.
Losers might be a little strong, don't you think?
Too strong for Canadian television, apparently. Since Pinkie Pie is on the second floor, this would imply that there's some sort of Pegasus landing platform, but no such platform actually exists.
Egghead.
And Rocky's down after a single nose boop knockout.
Why does the cake I picked up from Sugar Cube Corner say, Happy Birthday Pinkie Pie.
Oh, is that what it says?
That's kind of hard to tell, yeah.
The cake remains undisturbed. Applejack steals twice, hat between shots. Every pony is looking pretty odd here, but I think Dash is going to need some physical therapy.
There are plenty of other surprises in there. What kind of surprises?
That kind of surprise.
With all that you've imagined, the reality of this night is sure to make this the
Best night ever.
A trampoline with only 4 springs is extremely dangerous. They live in a land called Equestria, and Twilight's first thought was to magically engineer mouse-horse hybrids. The 4th mouse horse disappears.
That is kind of odd.
Those horses were supposed to pull our carriage.
If you excuse me, I need to speak to some humans about mowing my lawn. Cyclops' best pony. Theme to be continued next week. These hair dryers are very inefficient for a creature covered in fur, at least the way they're using it.
We don't normally wear clothes.
Said the only pony to normally wear an article of clothing.
Did you see something, Spike?
These two reach a place in no more than a couple hours, which normally takes a train a whole day. Applejack is standing on an invisible platform.
Screw gravity.
Meanwhile, at Hasbro HQ, these ponies' legs don't move. Doc Brown with a monocle. Security is rather lacking considering the ruler of the land is standing right here in front of the main doors. Little did you know, Amethyst Star had been frozen in place for years prior. Spitfire's purple
Amethyst.
contact lenses. Camera obviously casts a shadow on Twilight here.
We have so much to catch up on.
Yes, like hot dogs and home fries.
Oh, that's a pretty bad joke.
Can
Yeah.
be heard laughing in the background audio. Yeah, I doubt AJ has a vendor permit.
Probably not.
As a horse?
Nope, I've got nothing. Haha, the Soren has been doubled. Oh, that bumbling male. We females are obviously the superior sex. This stallion's laugh.
Wow.
Prince Blue Blood.
By the end of this episode, most Bernies will actually want to see if his blood is indeed blue.
I love wisdom while I work.
If you get that reference, you might be a Disney
Yeah,
fan.
that's...
Rake is backwards. This animation error puts stars in the foreground. Rainbow Dash angers these two mares, and they don't seem to be in the mood to forgive or forget anytime soon. What's this poor guy's story? Oh, for Celestia's sake, will you just take the hint, Rarity? An animator forgot to select single frame mode here. What, is she trying to catch an insect? No other animal would be caught by this small of a box. Spitfire has orange eyes, so this is obviously an imposter. Nightmare fuel.
Wow.
No, Dash, you're back left. These curvy S designs constantly swap direction. Rarity's tiara materializes out of thin air. I think Pinkie broke this sound mixer. If Applejack can make a giant cake in that short of time, how are Mr. and Mrs. Cake still in business?
Because she's got to run the farm.
After Pinkie Pie launches the cake, it does a 180 in midair and flies towards the door. This layering error. Rarity isn't wearing glass slippers at this point, yet one appears on the stairs and the other suddenly appears on her hoof.
Don't you think you've had enough?
Spike is a donut hollow.
How was your best night ever?
Is he really that oblivious? Spike appears
Sometimes.
to be levitating this donut. I guess Celestia just happens to be visiting the donut shop. It's not likely that she followed them, considering how long it took them to tell Spike the story.
That is why I was thrilled you were all attending.
Then why in the world would you give them only $2 tickets to fight over?
Well, that was obviously intentional.
You'll be mine.
Fluttershy. She was great in that episode.
Stop! One would hate to slip.
Yes, one certainly would.
That's the joke we're ending on? Oh, that's a lot of sins. 11:39. Okay. So, yeah, this was fun. Nothing to take me off like the dog and pony show bit from the last set. Instead, it was all just funny and entertaining. Some really nice points made, and lots of things to consider when I rewatch the episodes again. Plus all the usual great animation errors and inconsistencies he finds that I'd never notice in the first place, not having an eye for that kind of stuff. Series continues to be really enjoyable, so I'm looking forward to moving on into season 2 of it. Which, yeah, I know there are other videos in the whole Cinemersons series, but I'm probably going to hold off on those for now. In the case of the Fanworks ones, Dusk's Dawn, Snowdrop, and all the other ones he's done, it's mostly because I want to do them all together, and, well, I haven't really seen My Little Dashie yet. I will, probably after I read the fanfic, which I will be doing when I do my commentary to the RDP episode based on it. But until then, I'm going to hold off on those. As for the Equestria Girls ones, well, we'll see. But right now, I'm more interested in getting into Season 2, especially since I'm already aware that he's going to be a lot more negative towards Equestria Girls than he is on other things, from what you've all told me. Though I will get to those ones eventually. I'm going to do everything, so don't worry about that. Anyway, hope you liked the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.